Meheru Baba, 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 Jai 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 Baba.
Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. We have been covering the discourse Reincarnation and Karma given by Baba. It has 7 parts. We completed the first part, significance of death. And then we are in the middle of heaven and hell. We covered some of the topics in the last session. We will cover the remaining today. That's the plan. So the 2 key aspects of the first chapter, which is significance of death. One is, death is not an end to all. Death is only for the physical body, not for us. We do not die. Only our physical body dies. Our physical body died so many times, numerous times, in the pre-human lives and also in human lives. And it will die so many times. So many lakhs of times it is going to die. And that's the architecture of this universe. But we do not die. We never die. Before the creation, during the creation, after the creation, we live. We continue our journey forever. That is one point. Another aspect of the first chapter is, in the cycle of births and deaths of these 84 lakhs of human life cycles, death is equally significant as the birth. Death is as auspicious as birth. Those are the, if we take the key aspects of the first chapter. So now we are in the second chapter, that is heaven and hell. So in the heaven and hell, everybody after the natural death has to face either hell experience or heaven experience. It is inevitable. But whether we will go to heaven or hell depends upon the kind of actions we perform on this earth, in this body. So only our own actions are responsible for us to let the experience of heaven or hell. So because of that, having a thorough understanding of actions is very, very important. What kind of actions lead to heaven? What kind of actions lead to hell? So for that reason, it is important to understand the various actions that we perform. So in the kinds of actions, since actions are responsible for heaven and hell experience after the death, in the kinds of actions, depending upon when we do the action, there are 3 categories of actions. All the actions that we have already performed are referred to as Sanchitha Karmas in Sanskrit. Anything and everything that we have done in previous lives or even in this life until this moment. Eating breakfast this morning is now referred to as Sanchitha Karma. That was a Sanchitha Karma because it's a done deal. Okay. Anything and everything that we are going to do in this remaining life or in the future lives are referred to as Agami Karma in Sanskrit. So suppose if we are all going to eat lunch after this session. So eating lunch is an Agami Karma that we haven't started yet. We haven't touched that yet. Right? During the lunch break, we will eat the lunch. So that is an Agami Karma for now. Fine? By evening, we will refer the same karma as Sanchitha Karma. By evening, the same Agami Karma, whatever we are referring to now, the lunch, eating lunch, will be referred to as Sanchitha Karma by the evening. Right? So those two are so simple. And then third category is Prarabda Karma. Prarabda Karma are a set of actions that were left unfinished in the previous life. We thought of doing so many things in the previous life, but our life ended naturally. So these are undone work. And that is the responsible, those actions, unfinished actions from the previous life are responsible for this life. We have taken this life to finish those. And those are responsible for the birth of this one. And that package of any unfinished work from the previous lives was already ready for us at the time of birth, in the very beginning, in the Prarambha. That is why these are called Prarabda Karmas. And once we experience those and vest those karmas, they gradually go down in count and finally they reach 0. Once these Prarabdha Karmas reach the count 0, natural death occurs. So, the Prarabdha Karmas are the driving force for this life. And they are the purpose, they are the meaning of this life. Those are Prarabdha Karmas. So, in another angle, if we look at the karmas with reference to the physicality of the action, they are divided into two. Actions that are dependent on physical medium, whether it is our physical body or whether the physical objects that we interact or consume. Those are one category. Baba called them coarser desires. And actions that do not depend on the physical medium, or at least they depend feebly on the physical medium, they are referred to as finer desires. In the physical actions, in the coarser desires, one example is gluttony. Gluttony is craving for food and eating a lot of food. I like this, I like that, I like sweets, I like pizza. What is that I don't like? I like everything I see in the buffet. Right? My plate is small, my stomach is small. But I like everything served in the buffet. So, that is physicality. That desire, that action comes under the physically oriented action. Whereas non-physical activities also we do, like thinking, imagination, dreaming, this kind of things does not require the body. So we have visited so many places like Agra, Ooty or previously in our life. Now, in a fraction of a second, we can think that we are there. We can recollect our experience there. We can go to Ooty, we can go to Agra within a fraction of a second while our physical body is still here. That does not require the physical body. That does not require the trains and flights. That does not require the booking of the hotels. No physical medium, just only thought. Through the thought, we can do that action, right? So those kind of non-physical activities are called finer desires. So these are another two kinds of categories. So now that we have the clarity on the types of actions, let's talk about human behavior. Now that we know various kinds of actions, categories of actions, it is time for us to understand our own behavior. Our behavior depends upon two factors. One is internal factor and another is external factor. External factors we otherwise call as influence. Somebody suggests something to us, something like, let's go to movie. So now it is time before the examinations, I am so seriously studying. My closest friend comes and proposes that, some so-and-so movie released. Let us go and watch on the first day, first show itself. That guy is crazy about movie and he proposes that. And it is difficult to refuse that close friend's offer, and at the same time we are worried about the examinations. Now what to do? Whether to go with the friend, honoring the external force, or listen to the inner voice and honor the inner voice and then say, I love you, but we will watch this movie later, not necessarily on the first day in the first show. Let the examinations be done, then we can go together and happily enjoy that movie. Or if you want, you can go, but I am not coming with you. That could be one response. Or throw the books aside and then happily go and enjoy the movie. That is another thing. You may decide this way or this way. But while some people respond to this way, other people respond the other way. Why? This is because some people give value to the external force. They subject themselves, they subjugate themselves to external force. Whereas some people pay attention to the internal voice and they listen to that one, and they don't tempt for these kind of external influences. So, anything and everything we do, our decisions, our actions, is a result of this internal force and external force. That defines our behavior, what we do and what we don't do. And such behavior decides whether we will experience the heaven or hell after the natural death. So now, having known the kinds of actions that we do, and now we know what is the inner voice and what is the external influence, we can discriminate these two and make decisions accordingly so that we can lead a disciplined life. We can watch ourselves, our behavior, and lead a disciplined life, which is very likely to lead to heaven experience. If at all, if we go to hell, at least we can reduce the suffering in the hell. Okay? So that's about the behavior. Physical world, physical life is this one, and after the death, the world that we experience is called as semi-subtle world. In this semi-subtle world, we experience either hell or heaven without our physical body. We leave the physical body here and then we take everything else. So we have 5 components today: our soul, mental body, and then subtle body, physical body, and consciousness. So we are a 5.0 version today. After the natural death, what is that we are going to lose? We are going to lose completely physical body. We are going to leave that here, right? So that drops the count to 4. Then subtle body we do have, but it functions only half. Because the physical body is not there, there is only 50% job for it, 50% rest. So we refer that subtle body as half subtle body. Baba called it semi-subtle body. Right? So another half delete. It results to 3.5. After natural death, we continue our life as a 3.5 version. That is one aspect. Now, we are looking at the differences between this physical life and the semi-subtle world life. One difference is population. What is the human population today? It's approximately 7.8 or 7.9 billion. That is the population. We have this many people we can see, interact, we can fight, argue, hate, we can do a lot of things here. Correct. After the natural death, in this semi-subtle world, while experiencing heaven or hell, we do not have our own physical body, first of all. So we don't have a body to see if others are there in the heaven or hell. Whether are there or not, that is a different thing. Even if we assume that there are so many people in the heaven, you cannot see them, so what? You are all by yourself. Simple. Is it not? So, in that 3.5 life, the population count is always 1. Again, if you take the next birth, then of course you will be amidst of so many people. Right? So, population is one difference. Another difference between this earthly life and the semi-settled world is, this is an objective life. We have an objective to live whether we know it or not. And our objective to live is to reach our goal and get united into our own state of godhood. As a result of that one, we are living in a hurry-burry fashion. Our consciousness getting trapped in the samskaras is not fully functional. If our consciousness has to function fully, if we ask anybody, who are you, it should respond saying that I am God, with full confidence and experience. But today we don't give that answer. We say I am so and so, I am an engineer, I am a doctor, I am a student, I am a teacher, I am a man, I am a woman. These are the responses we are giving. It is because our human consciousness is clouded and under the clutches of these samskaras. So it is not fully functional today. So this consciousness wants to function on its own, completely free of the samskaras, to truly experience our own reality. In order to do that, consciousness is always under the urge of spending of the samskaras, which are influencing and corrupting our consciousness. It is always trying to get rid of the samskaras. In order to achieve that, we are always focused on the action. What actions will spend off these samskaras? How I can quickly spend off these samskaras so that I can be totally free from the influence of the samskaras and experience myself fully. So our consciousness is under the urge in this earthly life. Whereas in the semi-settled world, our continuation of life in the semi-settled world is a little different. It is not an active life, whereas it is a subjective life. In the subjective life, how it is different in the sense, we don't actively perform anything, either in heaven or hell. We only experience. We don't perform any actions there. We go there to spend off the previous actions, to experience and get rid of those related samskaras. In order to do the actions, we have to have the karmendriyas, pancha karmendriyas. We talked about that in previous sessions. The karmendriyas are hands that we use to do various actions, legs for our transportation, mouth for talking, 3 karmendriyas. Clear? And then urination and bowel movement. These are the 5 karmendriyas. Through these only we do the actions. You might wonder, we have eyes, we are watching so many things, so many movies, so many TV serials. Is it not that an action? No, it is not. It is not an action. It is only an experience. Eyes are one of the jnanendriyas. They are also 5. So through the jnanendriyas, we experience this universe. We don't do anything. We experience. It is a subjective experience. Through karmendriyas, we interact with this universe. So seeing and hearing are not actions. They are only experiences. They are inputs. Through the jnanendriyas, 5 inputs we have. We input this universe inside through these 5 jnanendriyas, and then respond to this universe using these 5 karmendriyas. So in the semi-settled world, our continuation of life will be in a subjective mode, where we are not actively involved but simply spending of the samskaras. That is another big difference. While the life, earthly life, is a hurry-burry life, going under some kind of urge, pressure, deadlines, all these kind of things. The semi-subtle world life, either heaven or hell, is a leisurely life. It's a very leisurely life. While we are acting here, in the semi-subtle world, we are assessing our actions. We are not acting there. We are assessing our actions. What is the consequence of our past action in our earthly life? If it is a good deed, we experience immense happiness. So through that, we realize that, oh, that action on the earth of donating some amount to others, food or money, whatever, oh, this is the result of that action. We get to realize and know the impact of the earthly action in the semi-subtle world. Similarly, we slapped somebody in our earthly life. Oh, this is the result of that one. As a result, we experience immense pain. Why? Because we don't have the hand to slap again, because it is a repetition of the action, right? We don't have the hand to slap again, and we don't have the cheek. We need cheek also to slap somebody, right? You don't have a cheek to slap, you don't have a hand to slap, but you still have to perform this action. No physical medium, and you still have to do it. This physical action you are left to do only by imagination. And through imagination, can you slap somebody? You are not successful. Your physical action is going to fail. This failure of action gives you suffering, disappointment. This suffering is heavily intense, what we call as hell experience. So in the subjective world, what we are doing is we are only assessing the good deeds and bad deeds that we have done in the earthly life. So it is an assessment phase. It is a subjective experience only, no active life. That is another difference. All right. So, relations in earthly life and relations in semi-subtle world is what the difference we are pursuing now. In this earthly life, yes, we do have so many relations, and we have different names for every relation. One relation we call as mother, another relation we call as brother, another relation we call as a friend, buddy, bro, recent modified relation. Lot of relations are there, right? Whereas in the semi-subtle world, are there relations? Zero relations, because first of all, we don't have our own physical body to interact and say hi. We don't have the hand, we don't have the mouth, right? So zero relations. And one more thing is, after the death, in the continuation of life after the death, the deceased soul will have the contact with their own family members and the premises for some time. That we discussed in the previous session. I am just briefly touching that. First 3 days, contact will be there. The deceased soul can observe and feel what the other people are doing, whether they are crying heavily or whether they are doing the devotional bhajans and Nama Sankirtan, or whether they are fighting for the gold. Mom's chain, should bigger sister get it or younger sister get it? Right? So whether they are fighting for the gold, whether they are fighting for the land, in the first 3 days they are able to figure that out. That also gives the knowledge for the deceased soul about the human relations. Yeah, that is also a maturity. How people react after I leave the physical body. Yeah. And from 4th day onwards until 13th day, this connection slowly becomes feeble, and it becomes zero after 13 days, according to the highest of the high. According to the source of truth. You are the source of truth. This is what Baba said. So based on that, the deceased soul will have a zero connectivity with the earthly life. after 13 days, for sure. Until before 13 days, there may be 1% or 2%, half percent. But after 13 days, it is a zero connectivity, is what Baba said. Now, what is the meaning of that? How do we interpret that and relate to other things that we know? Zero connectivity implies zero transactions. Today, if we offer a chocolate or ice cream, the other person can take it, consume it, enjoy it, and give the feedback, oh, it's very good, thank you. Right? In the zero connectivity, if you give the chocolate or ice cream, the other person cannot take it and consume. Why? There is no physical body. Physical materials will not be consumed. It is so obvious. The physical body is left in the earthly life to deter the physical body. Either to cremate or to deter, we are leaving the physical body here. So you give a chocolate or ice cream, the deceased soul cannot take it and consume. If you give the food to the deceased souls, can the soul consume that food? So this is the truth. Zero connectivity after 13 days is the truth from the source of the truth. People who do not know this truth assume different things and they believe in something that is far from truth. What is their belief is, they think they can continue to have a relation with the deceased soul even after 13 days. That is their belief. We are not questioning or criticizing that belief. As long as they believe that, we have to respect that. No comments, no criticism. That is their belief. Let them do it. But since we are fortunate to know the truth directly from the source of the truth, there is no need for us to do those kind of actions. People who don't know the truth, they continue to engage with the deceased soul through various activities, what are called as Shraddha Karmas. Every year, giving the food to the deceased soul. We all know that the physical body is deterred here and the soul is continuing without physical body. So, how this can consume the physical body is a question. So, that is about the transactions. Another aspect is interactions. Yes, in this earthly life, we can interact with a lot of people, so many ways. Whereas in the semi-settled world, the interactions are also going to be 100% zero, especially after the 13th day. Right? So, in this reference, there is an activity called Autowriting. Lot of people don't know, only few people know about it, and it is becoming popular nowadays through the Facebooks and YouTubes. What is Autowriting? In the Autowriting process, it is the belief of some people that they can continue to interact with the deceased soul even after 13 days. Whenever they meditate or do something, concentrate, focus on them, the deceased soul will communicate to them by making them to write something on the paper. You just take the paper and pen, be ready, the deceased soul will say something, your hand will automatically write it. That way, you will get to know what the deceased soul is communicating to you. If you have any questions, how are you doing? The Autowriting will say, I am doing well, don't worry. It will write it out. How is your life there? Don't worry, I am enjoying, I am having fun. It will write it automatically. That is the Autowriting process. Now, two aspects about this Autowriting, whether it is true or not. Another thing is whether it is spiritual or not. First of all, let us say whether it is true or not. According to what Baba said, the physical body is not there. And if you ask, how are you? Without physical body, that soul cannot hear what you say. And Baba said there is a zero connectivity after 13 days. So what we communicate to them, first of all, they cannot receive it. Then how they can communicate back is a question. Right? Now, let us assume that yes, there is an auto-writing process through which we can contact the deceased souls and we can talk to them and they will respond back by automatically allowing our hand to write it down. Okay, let us say that practice is there. Let us assume that. Now, whether it is spiritual or not is the next question. What is spiritual? Spirituality is to live a life without any attachment, like the water droplet on the lotus leaf. Padmapatram ivambhasa, like how the water droplet is on the leaf but it is not engaged with the leaf. We have to live this life with a full detachment. Detachment with anybody else, even our own family members. Wife and husband should have the detachment. Detachment with parents, detachment with children, detachment with friends. Stay detached with everybody. Detachment does not mean snipping of the relation. People get confused and get shocked. What is this? What kind of spirituality is this? Right? They get shocked. Detachment does not mean that snipping the relation. You still stay in the relation with all of these people, but you are detached. What does it mean? Detached life means you do not expect anything out of the attachment. The relation is there. Mother is still mother. Whether you are spiritual or not, mother is still mother. Son is still son. Daughter is still daughter. Relation is there. But detachment should not be there. That means do not expect anything from them. You do what you can do to your parents. You do what you can do to your children. Leave it there. Don't expect anything in return. That kind of giving without expectation is otherwise called as love, as defined by Baba. Such love-filled life is the pure life. Baba also said giving is loving. Baba said giving is loving. He also said loving is living. Loving is living. If you are not loving, that means you are physically living, but you are equivalent to a dead person. If there is no love in your heart, you are physically living. Yes, you are breathing in and out, but you are equal to dead person. Such love should be there with all our relations. Give, don't expect. Even love, Baba said, when you love somebody, don't even expect love in return. See how much I love you. You don't love me. That is a harassment. It is not love. That is otherwise called as harassment. Right? Whether you are not loving others or not is your job, your nature. Whether others are loving you back or not, it is their job. It's none of your business. So giving without expectation or without even expectation of the love in return, that is the pure love. Such pure love should be there in all relations, in our family and outside the family. Love your parents, love your children, love your neighbors, love your friends. Do your duties, do not shirk your responsibilities. Baba said in My Wish, point 1. So be dutiful to your parents, be dutiful to your children, be dutiful to outside people. If you peel banana and then throw the peel away recklessly in the middle of the road, you are not being dutiful to the society. You are being irresponsible, causing harm to others. Others might break their head or bones for your simple action. So duty is not limited to only office work. Duty is everywhere, in every mode of life. We have to be dutiful. So love and duty are the essence of the life. So So live a life like that. That is spirituality. Having an attachment, what is wrong with having an attachment? In order to understand the detachment, we need to understand the attachment. What is wrong with the attachment? In the attachment, in a particular relation, there is an expectation on both sides. If we take an example, our friend sells the ice fruit, frozen ice, in the summer. Now the summer is over, now the rain started. So his business is down. He is downhearted. He comes to a friend and say, hey, my business is not going well, I don't know what to do, I only know that skill. I go on cycle and then sell the ice cream to all the kids and elders in the summer. Now the rain started, my business is down. And this guy is very good in making samosas. His business is making the samosas and putting it on the table, selling it right there. That's what he is doing. Now he thinks, okay, why don't we get into some kind of business relation? So I know how to make the samosas, you know how to sell the products. Going in and around, this, you know all the streets, you know all the people, you wish them. So you have a rapport with them. So why don't you sell my samosas, I will give you commission. So there is a business relation formed. In the business relation, both parties have their own expectations. The expectation from the samosa maker is, whatever I make, you have to sell it. If you don't sell it, they will get rotten, I will lose my money. So that is the expectation. And the guy who is selling, he also has his own expectations, right? I can sell 1,000 samosas in a day. That is my capacity, my sales and marketing capacity. But if you make anything less than 1,000, you are wasting my time. Maybe I have to work with somebody else. You say business relation and you don't make samosa, you are a lazy guy. You make 100 and then relax smoking, right? So that guy also has an expectation. Whenever their expectations are not met, one get upset with the other, they fight, they argue, they fight, right? So such expectation is there in the business relation. Similarly, in any other relation, family relation or outside relations, whenever you are attached, if you are not detached in that relation, you have some expectation from the other person. If you have the expectation, can we call it as love? Baba says, love all, not just your family members. Love all is Baba's message. So don't expect anything from anybody, not only family members, but even the outside people. Expectation is attachment. No expectation is detachment. So live a life with all relations without any expectation. For that relation, do whatever you can do. Give whatever you can give. If you don't have anything to give, just give a smile. Enough. So that is attachment. Attached life is expectation life. Expectation life is not spiritual life. Your expectations, your desires are bindings for your spiritual progress. In your journey to reach the goal, these are all bindings, they are pulling you behind. They are holding you, they are retarding you, they are impeding you. So, live a detached life. Stay detached with everybody, but love all. Be dutiful with all. That is the spiritual life. So whether God came as Rama or Krishna or Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad or Meher God always says, live a detached life. When he came as Lord Krishna, he said, live a life like a lotus leaf, like a water droplet on the lotus leaf. Even the lotus leaf, it lives all along in the water. It takes birth in water, it dies in the water. That's entire life is in water, but it does not get interacted with the water. If it interacts with the water, the next day it is going to get rotten and die. Similarly, we have to live in this world with detachment, with love, with duty. That is the message of spirituality. Whether it is said by Lord Rama, Lord Krishna, Buddha, Jesus Christ, Muhammad or Baba. That is the message all the time. So, having an attachment with the living people itself is not spirituality, and after they decease, you continue to stay attached with them and hoping to communicate their well-being. Are you well? How are you? This is over-attachment. Is it not? Now the question is left to you, whether it is spiritual or not. Communicating with them, doing this auto-writing process, is it spiritual? This question is for you, yes or no?
No.
Any yes? Please raise your hand. So that is what zero connectivity after 13 days means. Connectivity is there before 13 days. A little, we talked about those details in the previous session. But after 13 days, the continuation of life after death, zero connectivity means this much information is there. So another difference between the earthly life and the semi-settled world is the states of mind. In the earthly life, the states of mind are primarily three. One is the wakeful state, which we are in now at this moment, right? After half an hour or so, few of us may be dozing off. That is not a wakeful state. Sometimes we see, because of the hot summer condition, or maybe they are tired driving so much, they probably didn't have enough sleep in the last night, whatever may be the reasons. Sometimes we doze off. But now we are all in the wakeful state. That is one of the states of the mind. And then another is sleep state. Within this sleep state we have two more. One is within the sleep where we can see the dreams. Dream state is another mental state. And within the sleep sometimes we don't even get the dreams. Complete sleep. That is called deep sleep. Right? So, wakeful state, dream state and deep sleep state. These are the three states of the mind primarily in the earthly life when we have the body. When we continue the life without physical body, the states of mind are two. One is heaven, the other is hell. The mind will be experiencing either heaven or hell. So heaven and hell are the states of mind, the experiences the mind goes through. They are not places like we see in the movies. Heaven is always projected above in the clouds. Hell is always projected much below in the earth layers, where the hot lava is flowing, right? To toast the people, to barbecue the people, and all that, to deep fry the people. A lot of restaurants are there. All you can eat barbecue, all you can eat toast. No, those restaurants are all there in the hell. So these are only vivid expressions of the subject that we are talking today. This subject will not reach to all the public. So in order to make it accessible to a common man, this kind of dramatic vivification is created by our ancestors so that they can easily understand the consequences of good deeds and bad deeds. Good deeds will take you to heaven and bad deeds will take you to the hell. So if you can give a dramatic picture of the hell, people will be afraid of, they will try to avoid that suffering and be nice here. That is the intention. Okay? So that is the vivification of the mind. And one point here is, all these states are exclusive in nature. You cannot experience two of those states simultaneously. Can you be wakeful as well as deep sleep at the same time? They are exclusive completely. Similarly, heaven and hell are also exclusive. You cannot be experiencing both heaven experience and hell experience at once. Either that or this. So they are exclusive in nature. One more thing is, all these are illusions only. No matter how terrible the hell is, it is still an illusion. It is not happening. But it appears as if you are being toasted, you are being roasted, you are being deep fried. It is only illusion, it is only your mind's imagination. In the non-availability of the physical medium, the level of suffering the mind goes through the imagination is hell. That's all. It is still an imagination, it is still an illusion. Only deep sleep state has some touch of reality. In the deep sleep state, we experience the God unconsciously. Terms and conditions apply. In the deep sleep state, we experience our own soul. But unconsciously, when you experience that without consciousness, you cannot remember and cherish on it when you wake up. So some reality touch is there, but that reality touch also within the domain of the illusion. So his question is, who is experiencing all of this? Who is the recipient of the experience? That is his question. So my answer is, spiritually we are 5 components, 5.0 version today. 3 bodies, 1 visible, that is physical body, 2 invisible, that is subtle body and mental body, 3 bodies. Our true nature is soul, 4, plus consciousness, 5, right? So all these experiences of eating of an apple or eating of a dosa, who is experiencing? Is God experiencing? No. The answer is no. The experience is only by the consciousness through these 3 bodies. Any kind of experience you talk, before the creation, during the creation, after the creation, it is the consciousness. And in the context of God speaks, generally at a high level we say God is in 10 different states. The very original state is beyond God state, where God is in deep sleep. And then through the evolution, God exists in different states, experiencing different things. And then eventually God is completely wakeful state, where he experiences himself that I am God. That is a wakeful state of God. So in an essence, we get an impression that God has 2 states. One is a sleep state, another is wakeful state. That's okay, for the sake of understanding the subject, the process, the universal process, God realization and all that. But in fact, in reality, God will not have 2 states. God's state is only one. God is. That's all. God does not sleep. So where do you get the deep sleep state? God is not wakeful. So where do you get the wakeful state? God is, that's all. And beyond that we cannot describe the God. Beyond that we cannot understand the God. When we can understand the God? Only when we get the God realization. Then only we will understand what that God is means. Until then, we only believe in God. Okay? Very good questions.
In the heaven and in the heaven and hell state, we are experiencing something. The mind is experiencing. Correct?
Yeah.
So I got the answer.
Oh, you got the answer. Okay, good.
The mind is the only thing that's experiencing. Correct?
Mind, actually, truly speaking, the consciousness is what experiencing with the help of these 3 bodies, either on the earth or in the semi-settled world. These 3 bodies are vehicles to interact with the universe, to experience the universe, right? And who is experiencing then? That is what Sir's question. Our consciousness is what experiencing. There will not be any change in the state of Godhood. If there is any change, for example, if there is any change in the Godhood, then it cannot be truth. Truth never changes, right? Whatever that never changes is what called as truth. If it keeps on changing every minute, you don't call it truth. God is truth. So, God is not susceptible for any sort of change. We talked about the human behavior. we understood the human behavior, which is a mix of internal influence as well as the external influence. That is the human behavior. Right? Now we are going to look at the human life. Human life, now that we know all these karmas, how they operate, samskaras and all that, let us have a different angle of understanding to the human life. What is human life is all about? It is mostly experiencing the universe. We are experiencing the universe by taking the inputs through these 5 jnanendriyas. Seeing, input through the eyes. Hearing, input through the ears. Touch, input through the skin. Taste, input through the tongue. What else? What else? Smell. Input through the nose. Aha! అద్దరిపోయింది వేళ అనుకుంటాం కదా. So these are all inputs. Through these inputs we are experiencing the universe. Human life, the experience whatever we gain in this human life is registered on our mental body in the name of samskaras. Just like how a movie film registers multiple exposures for just one simple action in the movie. Right? So, simple action, a physical action like that itself can create a lot of impressions on the mind. So, that way the experience is registered. It is a record. That is one aspect of the life. Now, another aspect of that is these samskaras are the registers of the human experience, are waiting to seek the same experience again, through which experience these samskaras are formed, and they promote us to have that experience again. That force is nothing but we call as a desire. So they promote desire to re-experience. We never tasted pizza, and then we got the pizza in friend's birthday. That is the first time we tasted, we liked it. Very good. But it is expensive. So we feel like eating one more, but we don't have money to buy. These impressions, the pizza impressions are there in the mind, and they are waiting. Oh, this pizza is really good. Why don't you eat one more? Come on, give me pizza, give me pizza. The desire is produced in the mind, but we don't have the resources to address that one. So after a few days, there is an advertisement in the paper saying that so-and-so pizza is 50% off if you buy it on the Wednesday. Saturday, Sunday, anyway, a lot of sales will be there. Wednesday is the poorest sale for the pizza. Who will eat a pizza in the middle of the week, right? So they give that discount on the Wednesday, 50%. So now we jump to buy the pizza. So that way, this human experience is re-experienced through the desires, through these samskaras. So in order to re-experience, what we are doing is what we call as karmas, right? Experience through panchendriyas, and then action through karmendriyas. These are 5, these are 5. So human life is primarily a combination of experience and actions. Primarily. There is also another small component where we don't do either of this. No experience, no actions. And that state is deep sleep state. In the deep sleep state, we don't experience anything. We don't do anything. That is also one of part of the human life. So human life can be largely attributed to a combination of 3 aspects. Experience of the universe, interaction with the universe, what we call as actions, and then deep sleep state. That is another aspect of human life, right? How long is the duration of either heaven or hell? That is the question. So there is no definite duration for the human life itself. Although on an average we say 100 years, which has now dropped down to 70 years with the benefit of the fertilizers, all the other things, all the plastic pollution, everything, right? Cancer became a household term nowadays, unfortunately. So lifestyle has changed over the period of time. Now it is a different issue. So when we don't have a definite time window for the human life itself, how can we expect a definite time window for heaven or hell? It is not precise. However, the duration of either heaven or hell depends upon three aspects. One is the nature of the samskaras, another is the number of the samskaras, the other one is the intensity of the samskaras. Nature of the samskaras again in turn three types. The samskaras formed because of the physical action. We ate breakfast, that is a physical action. Eating breakfast created some physical samskaras. And then samskaras formed through the pranic body or subtle body, both are same. Something like breathing in, breathing out, from the morning, even night, all the time we are breathing in, breathing out. So this process will create a lot of subtle samskaras. And then heart is pumping, lub-dub, lub-dub. Every lub-dub will create some samskaras. Sometimes it will be faster, sometimes it will be slower, right? So that creates the subtle samskaras, digestion process. Lot of things are happening without our intervention inside our body. All those are done by our pranic body, subtle body. So those are subtle. The mental samskaras, thinking, imagination, creativity, anything that we do with the help of mind creates the mental samskaras. So depending upon what proportion of these three samskaras we have on the mind determines the duration of the heaven or hell. Generally, the physical samskaras are the strongest samskaras. It takes more time to spend those physical samskaras. And then weaker samskaras are the subtle samskaras, and yet further much weaker are the mental samskaras. So depending upon this composition, that is one aspect. And then the number of samskaras. One goes to heaven with 5 samskaras, another goes to heaven with 500 samskaras. So it takes more time to spend those off, obviously. So number of samskaras is the second aspect. The third aspect is the intensity of the samskaras. Whether your physical samskara is a very intense desire, it formed through an intense desire as a weak desire, or whether your mental samskara is formed through an intense mental desire or a weak mental desire. Intensity also contributes. So based on these three aspects, the duration of the heaven or hell will be determined. And beyond that, we have so many other aspects to cover in the heaven and hell that we will cover in the upcoming session. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai.
Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Meher Baba.